Good evening, everybody. And how is everyone doing tonight? It is a beautiful day here in Toronto. Let me tell you, it's a lot windy here in Toronto, but it's all good. We had to hunker down some stuff, but we're good. It's sunny, it's nice. Yesterday was the first day of summer, and we're getting ready for a great show tonight. Now, this is the time for you to get your snacks, to invite a friend, to share, share, share. We are not wasting any time. And you know when wisdom keys are going to drop, you never know. And of course, playing in the background is Calabash. It's our Caribbean jazz from the islands. But it's led by Anthony Pierre with Darren Shepherd on the steel drums. And you know how we love to start it off, right? And of course, I always say we have the rights to play this music because Tony Pierre has given us permission. We don't own the rights to the music, they do, but we have the rights to play it. So, everybody, you ready? Let's set, let's go. Welcome to the Victory Speaks show. It's an inspired conversation series. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to inspire you to live a life of victory, a victorious lifestyle. And out of my natural advocacy stance and desire to amplify the story of others, I have curated these conversations with everyday experts, unsung heroes, and thought leaders that will empower us. And I recognize, like you do, that no matter what type of conversations we have, good, bad, funny, you name it, we can be inspired. It's all about perspective. And tonight, I want to introduce you to a very special person in my life. And I'm excited. We share the same birthday, we share the same family name, we share the same family. I know it's a lot of similarities here tonight. And this person is Rondell Donawa. He's an attorney at law by profession, having been called to the bar in England and in Wales, as well as in Trinidad and Tobago. He operates his own legal practice. Now, listen, that's not all for Rondell. Rondell is also a Calypsonian and is a two-time South Calypso Monarch. And he was a finalist in the National Calypso Monarch competition 3 times. He has performed in many countries, including the Caribbean, Americas, and Europe, spreading the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Rondell is also the Assistant Public Relations Officer of the Trinidad Unified Calypso Organization, TUCO for those of you who live in Trinbago. Rondell hosts his own television program entitled Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. He's involved in many charitable organizations and holds directorship in the Nihil Amino Cristo Foundation, the Anti-Bullying Association of Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean Women's Honors and Empowerment Trinidad and Tobago chapter, and is a member of the management committee of the Southern Academy of the Performing Arts. He was also a local government councillor for Coquille Taruba in San Fernando City Corporation. Some of his many achievements, and note I'll say some, is National Youth Awardee 2012, Youth in Education. He holds certificates of excellence in the National Music Festival and the San Fernando City Corporation Award for Culture. He mentors young people and is passionate about service. Now, people, let me see how you can do it. Let me see how you can make me so proud. Show your heart, show your love for Rondell as we bring him up to the Victory Speak stage. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. My cousin is on the Victory Speak stage tonight. What's up? Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. I know you got no sound because I muted you, my friend. I muted you. That was just a joke. I just like, this is the
Hello,
only time
hello.
I can mute you. It's the
I know,
only time I can mute you, right?
right?
I taking control.
Good afternoon, Nicole. Evening is evening. It's what time
Yes,
in Toronto? 7, 8,
7. It's 8
7. Yeah.
o'clock actually. It's 8 o'clock
8
actually.
o'clock. Right. Good evening to everyone listening, viewing. Good evening to everyone in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, everyone. My family. I'm sure my mom is on. My friends. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Loving it. And I see Hyacinth is tuned in all the way from Atlanta. Welcome, Hyacinth. And Wendy's in Toronto. And so if you're on Team Live, put your comments in the chat so that we can see who you are. Give us your questions, any comments. We're looking forward to having this conversation. So Rondell, you have a plethora of activities you've been involved in, and you're looking like a real youth, right? You look like you just turned 16, right? And you
And
have a
family
calling up
blog.
all these the family genes, the family genes. I know.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
We should take a picture, the family genes. Um, so tell me something. How has this pandemic been? How you been dealing with this pandemic?
Listen, it's a blessing and it's a curse. I would say it's a blessing because it enabled me to reflect on things that I thought that I could do without. Also, it enabled me to redefine my personal space, my practice. Just getting involved in myself and service to others some way or the other. Um, Curse, I don't want to dwell too much on the curse, but with everything, sometimes you lose income, you lose a lot of people who would have passed on. But at the end of the day, I thank God for life. I thank God for the opportunity to see another day, to witness, my growth, and just, hoping that soon it will be out. We will be out of it. We will be out stronger, better, and I'll be able to come to Canada soon.
Yes. So tell me something. What was it like growing up in Trinidad and Tobago?
What was it like? I grew up in humble beginnings. New Bowl Street, San Fernando. You would know. My mom being a single parent. It was. It was a great experience as a youth, particularly because of the fact that I have been active ever since the age of 5 years old. I believe I have been very active in the performing arts, as well as everything sports at one point in time. So, it has been joyous. I must say, it has been joyous. There are also times of challenge, but I want to really focus on the joyous aspect of growing up in Trinidad and Tobago. It seems as though we've lost connection. So probably I would just continue talking. So as I said, I grew up in San Fernando, of course, and I attended the Monrepo RC school in San Fernando. Big up to the Monrepo posse, growing up in Monrepo. I then went to St. Benedict's College. This is where I would have further on my skills in terms of the performing arts, in terms of academics, and everything that really came with it. So it has been a growing experience, particularly in my primary school. Some of you may not have known, but I started. Let's go with the singing aspect. I started performing at the age of 4 years old. I think my first song was "I Want to Be a Vendor," and I think that was at age 5. But prior to that, my brother, who is Andre, he was also he's into the art form, but he plays the violin. But a fun fact is that he he used to sing calypso, right? I remember he sang, I think, his first song, and at that point in time, I told my mom that, listen, I want to sing calypso as well, and I was able to, to get a writer. I think at that point in time it was Casman Wayne McDonald. He is a prolific writer, and I remember singing "I Want to Be a Vendor." And I sang in my first school competition, as I said, and I can't remember what I placed, but I do remember in terms of having on my vending outfit, as well as my background singers having on their lottery ticket outfit and all these different things. And from there, my music teachers particularly saw growth in me and saw something that stood out, and I just kept on going from competition to competition, singing, expanding, and just realize this is what I love.
Like, how did you even be? I mean, you were singing from like age 4.
Yes,
How did you
yes.
even figure out that you like calypso? Like, what drew you? I mean, age 4, Rondell. Come on.
Well, as I said, I mean, I know you cut, I know you shut down, but I did say that Andre, my brother, he sang calypso once, and at that point in time when he sang, I was like, listen, I told mom, I said I want to sing calypso as well, and from there, I just started singing. I mean, at one point, I think in the earlies, my enunciation wasn't as great because I'm a toddler. And sometimes I'm singing and you're like, what he's saying, but eventually with training, I was able to really grasp the folklore, or rather the English language in song, in our local colloquial way we sing and we speak.
So, like, what is your favorite topic when it comes to the art form and performing? What is your favorite topic? Like, how do you even pick it? Like, how do you pick the sounds that you pick? Because you're always kind of like, you're not afraid to say what's on
Yeah.
your mind.
Yes, yes. Well, actually, I must give credit to my writers in the past, because they always, I mean, at least when I was younger, I would have indicated, listen, this is what I want to sing, and this is the trajectory in which I want to go, and it just happened. I mean, I know, I'm not sure if you knew of Calypsonians like Bilamo.
Of course.
Bilamo have written to me, written for me at one point in time. As I said, Castman and Christoph Grant. But somehow because of my serious nature, I always delved into the social commentary aspect, singing about issues in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, about the environment. I remember it had a time when I was in standard, I think it was in standard 3. I sang a letter to the Prime Minister, and at that point in time, Basdio Pandey was the Prime Minister, and there was a whole controversy with respect to the school teachers not being paid. And I remember there was
Right.
he stated that on record that that teachers are criminals, and I sang about that. I sang, pay school teachers their money now. I was 8 years old at that point in time, and I think that was the first time I made it to the National Junior Calypso Monarch finals, on the big stage in my khaki pants and my short sleeve shirt for
I
Monterey
remember
Park.
that outfit. I remember that
Yes.
outfit. I remember that
Yes.
outfit. Like, what
Yes.
gives you, were you thinking you're getting this boldness, this courage to even, you know, deal with some of these topics that are so controversial at
I
such
don't
a
know.
young age?
I mean, I think I've always probably been fearless, and I think I always trust, the persons who have been around me. I mean, my mom has always been the biggest supporter in terms of always there. I also had a lot of mentors throughout my life, who would have really, put into my head, listen, that you just go out there, be brave, be bold, and just project and deliver your content, regardless of what are the positioning, in terms of whether you come first, whether you come second, third. I mean, placing wasn't always my main objective. My main objective was really just to get my songs out there and to get into the finals at that time of the Junior Calypso Monarch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What has been one of your favorite moments when you were singing calypso growing up? And I mean, it's not just calypso you were singing. You're well versed. What other instruments do you do? Before I get into that, wait.
Actually, oh wow. Okay, I will tell you what instruments I would have passed through. So in my formative years, I played the piano. So I did up to grade 5 in music,
Right.
with Bernadette Roberts was my tutor. She was also my vocal coach. So I was always trained from since young. So I started off with piano. I played guitar. I played steel drums, as we were steel pan. You see
Yeah.
steel drums internationally. I actually played with Skiffle Bunch, steel orchestra, at one point for Carnival. And then just before I completed school, I mean, a lot of people may not know, but I got accepted to do a music scholarship, a saxophone scholarship rather. So it's a sax scholarship with the brass.
Really?
Yeah, with the Brass Institute, in Trinidad under the directorship of Anthony Woodruff. So when was that? That was in 2000 and 2002 or 2003. So I started playing the tenor sax with the Brass Institute. But due to circumstances beyond my control, I did not continue past
Right.
the second year, but I
Right.
learned a lot from, I remember we were playing in our own concert. I played in a solo with the sax, with the tenor sax, also doing music theory. So
Right.
I had a foundation up to the age of 16. And I also played drums. I played guitar and drums in church, right? St. Joseph RC Church, Mount Repo. So I played the drums up to the time that I left for England. So that is, yeah. So I've played a lot of instruments.
But did you sleep?
Of course, yeah.
No, there's no of course with that because it looked like it was catnapping. Catnap and sleep, Rondell, is two different things because I'm listening to the different things that you were doing.
Sometimes when I think about it, I wondered how did I do it, and I think really, I mean, the encouragement, because mommy, she never discouraged us to do certain things. She's always like, listen, you all want to do it, you'll do it, but make sure that you'll also do your academics as well. One point I was playing tennis. I used to play tennis in in Guadalcara Park with Mr. Lennox. That was during my primary school years. I played tennis, not professionally, but I played in tournaments, etc. I remember in school also I was in the cricket team at one point in time. But of course, you have to choose a struggle.
Yeah. But it's interesting to listen to the amount of things that you have done, and as you're singing calypso and you're doing all these things, what is a favorite memory you have of singing calypso and performing, or performing period? Because now I finding out you was drumming, you was playing
Yeah.
pan, you was hidden, but I think
Yeah.
even though we're born the same day, I can't remember the age difference. I won't go there.
I think I was always the I mean I am, I think, at that point I am the youngest in the lot. So I would have always been, doing my stuff, a favorite, I think the best moment for me was performing on the March Gras stage when I first qualified for the finals of the National Calypso Monarch in 2017, singing lip service.
Right,
That
right, right.
was the first time, and that was a joyous moment. Just the fact that I got into the finals and I just went out there and performed. I didn't care how much I came. I mean, I was just on an adrenaline. It was just the most fantastic experience someone could ever imagine, performing on that stage. And I came fifth. I came fifth that year. I think that year Helon Francis won. No, that wasn't the year Helon Francis won. Sorry. I think this is the other year because I came third the other year. But that was a favorite moment for me. A favorite moment.
Lip service, and I would encourage people to go online and check out YouTube, and you would see all of Rondell's different performances because you have placed at different levels in the Calypso Monarch. I mean, just in South, but also on the national stage, and the amazing songs that you put out, and the lyrics were always, thought. You always had to think, and you had no fear. And
Yes.
thank you, everybody who's joining on live right now. Shout outs from Auntie Angie and Love Moist tuning in from Toronto. Wendy Jones here. June Doyle is in Trinidad. A mother's voice is in, yes, June. A mother's voice is important in the direction of her family's healthy choices. Yes, and you could see that. So we're giving props to your mom tonight. I need a round of applause for that.
Round
Uh,
of applause.
we're giving you your flowers. Even Hyacinth is in the US. He's blessed, empowered to prosper and succeed in every area of your life.
Oh yes, I
Yes.
am.
So now you performing your calypso, and you decide that you want to become. Do you always want to become a lawyer?
Well, I will give you the background of of that. Um, I no, I did not always wanted to become a lawyer. Actually, growing up, I wanted to become a prime minister, right? I wanted to become a prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago growing up. However, in terms of a career path, I had interest in computers, computer software engineering, and I decided, I wanted to do computer engineering. So during my O levels, during my CXC time, I pursued sciences. So I did subjects such as history, chemistry, sorry, not history, chemistry, physics, biology, additional maths. I did Spanish, those subjects that were geared towards pursuing a engineering degree.
Right.
At some point in time, well, because I was involved in other things, so I was also involved in youth politics. At that point in time, I was also involved in debating. So I was in debating club in St. Benedict's College, which I attended. I was also the chairman of the student council. Besides being involved in culture, I was also the head boy. So at that time, a lot of voices were in my head, and I was like, Rondell, people were like, Rondell, why don't you do law? I remember I was having a conversation with Auntie Muriel
Right.
when I was younger, just before she died, and at that time I was telling her, I want to do politics, and she said, Rondell, don't do politics as a first choice. Do something that you
Mm,
can fall back on, because from my experience, politics, you will get involved in politics, and then at the end of the day, you'll be left with nothing, besides your integrity. So that stuck behind my head.
right.
I decided, let me pursue law. So funny enough, uh, uh, usually when you complete CXC and you're advancing to A levels, you're really supposed to do the subjects that you are, that you would have done in CXC. So I
Right.
would have done CXC, meaning sciences,
Right.
and then I decided I wanted to do modern studies, because at that time I was told that, in order to do law, you should do reading subjects. So I went to my principal at that time, Mr. Declan Singh. I was completing the form for A levels, and then he said, Donawa, how are you going to do modern studies when you do sciences? I said, Mr. Singh, don't worry yourself. At that time, in 2018, at that time, Mrs. Manning, Hazel Manning, was the Minister of Education. And of course, I don't want to delve into too much of the nepotism, but of course, things happened, and she approved my transition from sciences to modern studies. So I did.
Nice.
So I end up getting approved to do history, literature, and sociology.
Wow.
Granted, the last time I did and history and literature was in Form 3. So when I chose subjects, you have to choose subjects from Form 3 for Form 4, 5
Oh,
for CX. The
yes.
last
Yes.
those reading subjects was in Form 3. So it was a retransition, coming from formulas and thinking scientifically to having to read in volumes, because when you're doing history, we had to do American history. Our syllabus was American history and British history.
Right.
Or sorry, American history and British history and Caribbean history. And also for literature, we had to do eight. The syllabus included 8 books, right, per year. So that's 16 books in total. And
And
then
they
of
want to
course,
call us, and they want to call us an underdeveloped country. You see how much
thank
learning we
you.
doing? You see how much learning we doing, boy?
Precisely. And then also sociology is a very heavy topic as well. Dealing with the human mind, dealing with
Yes.
nurture, virtue, psychology, this, that, and the other. And basically, I was successful within my within my A levels, I applied to UB. So I applied. First choice, I applied to law, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then second choice was political science, so somewhere around there. So I got into do political science, and I remembered what I was told about doing political science, getting heavily involved, and then there's
Yeah.
nothing to jump back on. I think I remember having a chat with my aunt Angela about that as well,
And
and
she's on the line listening.
yeah, so and having a chat with mom, and I was like, you know what, I declined UE because they would have approved me to do political science, and I decided, you know what, I don't want to do political science. I took a year off. Tell me if I'm talking too much, but
You know, you're telling the story.
I took a year off, and I worked. I worked for that year between when I finished A levels. And during that time, I decided, you know what, unknowing to my mom, I decided to just make applications to schools in England. I don't know how it was going to be paid for, but I just decided to make application. I think I borrowed. I wasn't sure if I saw a credit card I borrowed. I just borrowed. Right? I said borrowed, and I think at that time we had internet cafes.
Right.
So I went to an internet cafe after school. I think no, after work, sorry, and I just started to make applications. At that time, it was like £5 per application, right, for university, and I waited, and then I got accepted. I got 3 offers,
Wow.
and I was like, okay, cool. So then it was time to have the conversation. And then I informed
I
my
can't.
mom.
I want to
Yeah,
hear about this conversation
I
because I
informed, I
can't.
informed my
I want to hear about this
yeah,
conversation.
I informed my mom. I said, "Mommy, I got accepted to university in England. She's like, Rondell, I can't pay for that. You know, she said, how am I gonna pay for that, baby? We already have things going on here. I'm gonna pay for that. Granted, I started law externally down here, but of course I wanted the university experience. And headstrong as I am, as we are, Capricorns,
No,
um,
I stayed out of that. I know. I stayed out of that. Take that for yourself.
I, I I said, you know what? Listen, this is the plan. I'm going to use my talent, and I am going to host a concert, right? So she's like, okay, cool, good idea. I said, I'm going to apply for funding, scholarships, part scholarships, and
Right.
did that as well. And I decided to have this concert. So I chose my cast, everything. At that time, it was the first concert. The name of the concert was Living the Dream, featuring myself. And I was grateful to Joy Caesar, Auntie Joy, rest her soul. She was the musical director of Suddenaire's Choir. She passed away last year. And I remember going to her, and she's like, okay, we will put things together. And she assisted me throughout in terms of, I had my cast, granted, luckily, I knew a lot of people in the cultural fraternity, so all my cast members would have performed free of charge. So at that time, I built my cast. I had the alternative quartet featuring Andre.
Yeah.
I had Stalin. I had three Canal, Skiffle. I had Turon Roberts. I had
That
I
wasn't
had
a that was a show. That wasn't a concert, Rondell. What were you talking about? You when you say
I,
concert, I am not even beginning to think what you
I
saying
had
here.
I had Pedro Lizama. He's a saxophonist.
Yeah, I know Pedro. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I had Damian Melville. I had Darren Shepherd. So I had a few. I had dance as well. Michelle Pilgrim. Listen, it was a show. It was a production.
Right. Right.
Um, and I put together that show, and it was at City Hall, San Fernando. Of course, City Hall would have had a short, a small space because I didn't want to
Yeah.
be too ambitious. And the show was packed until persons were like, why didn't you have 2 days? And
Wow.
within just the show, putting on the show and getting the support and donations, I was able to raise, I was like 30,000 TT.
Wow,
Yeah.
Rondell.
At that time, that was in 2005, 2006. Yeah, 30,000 TT, and I was able to pay for half my tuition, my flight accommodation to get to England. You know, and then and then the rest is history. You know, the rest is history. I got a part scholarship eventually, in my second year, so I was able to cover tuition for that period and also expenses. I also worked in the UK, so I worked firstly at View West End. Now, View is a cinema basically,
Right.
but a cinema for is a UK cinema for with the premieres. You know, like when they premiere movies in
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
So that is where they do all the premieres. So luckily for me, I was able to see lots of artists when they came. Sorry, not artists, movie stars when they came to the UK to premiere their movies. Like for instance, one such movie was Dreamgirls. I
Wow.
Beyonce. Actually, I also Fantastic Four, Jessica Alba, Rocky Balboa. I met Sylvester Stallone. I remember there was a time when I was working on the floor, so that means I was taking tickets,
Right.
and it was an evening. It wasn't a movie premiere, so it was, I think, I can't remember the name of Paranormal Activity. One of those movies with Sandra
Yeah.
Bullock,
Right.
and I remembered that uh, I saw this person coming towards me, but of course, not unassuming. I mean, his evening is in
Mhm.
London.
Yeah.
It was a Friday evening or so, and then now before I get to that story, under our terms of employment, we are not supposed to one appear starstruck. We are not supposed to rush any celebrity photographs. We are not supposed to take photos, anything like that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I have no photo evidence because we weren't allowed to take photos. It's just memories, right?
Right.
What I was able to do was keep the paraphernalia of the movie premieres to
Right.
as evidence. So I would have had a few in terms of what movie premieres and who and which stars came. And I saw this person come to me and I was like, but this person looking familiar. That's not PDD. So it's when he said, yo, and then he just came, he gave me the tickets. And it's only when my colleague was like, Rondell, that is Puff Daddy. I was like, really? Listen, I stopped what I doing and I forgot that I was working and I
Yeah.
ran down the stairs after him. Right? Just to take his hand. And my managers, I mean, I was reprimanded after that, but my
Yeah.
managers, like, I just left, and persons could have just passed and going to movies because I was in charge of ticketing.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
ran down to him and just like, hey, PDD. He's like, yeah, bro. And I'm like, oh my goodness, good to meet you. And he shook my hand. I couldn't get an autograph, but
Yes.
I didn't want to push the button. I ran back upstairs. And literally, I stalked him throughout the entire evening. That was an experience. That was an experience. Working at the cinema, I enjoyed it. I mean, the best thing working at the cinema, of course, as a student, because most persons, as you know, when you go to school abroad, most students work either in cinema, in pubs,
Right.
in tourist attractions. I think my best experience was in the cinema because especially I used to love, which funny enough, I used to love to sweep. What I mean, after every movie, you have to
Yeah.
sweep up the popcorn, etc.
Yeah.
I used to beg for that shift, that particular portfolio, because you used to find a lot of pounds. So money, money,
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you see,
money.
this is why.
So sometimes after everybody rushing, everybody rushing to sweep, and I mean, I think the largest sum of monies I ever found was about £20, right? And and you just sweep it up and you're just looking for coins because at the end of a shift you could come out with £50. That's real money.
Yeah, because you can. That's food. You
That
know,
is
that's a little
food.
something, something.
That's food. That's
Transportation.
travel. That's partying. That's drinks for
You
a
know what I
weekend.
love? You know what I love? I love the stories, and I love you sharing the stories. Wendy goes humble beginnings. And you know, people may see where you are now, but they don't know the journey. And this is why it's so important for us to have these conversations. Like we haven't had some of these conversations. Some of this stuff is new to me. And it goes back to the fact that, you know, people could be right in your hemisphere, people could be right in your family, and you don't know the history, you don't know the story of everything that you went through. And this is why it sets the context. And now it you could even see the tying in from you as a little boy,
Yeah.
and then coming up and then hearing what Auntie Mary had to say. And for you all, we will tell them about that in a little minute.
And I got the tail. I mean, I know you all had more experience with her because of your age group. So I mean, my memory of her was all as a youth, as very very
But
young.
that don't mean that you didn't. But that don't mean you didn't
but
get, because you
but
were
I
right
got
there.
yes yes
You got a
yes
lot because you
yes
showed. You know, because not many of us would say. You know, people like to say that, you know, we should go into politics and stuff. But you actually were moving in the political space without saying that you wanted to do politics, from just your commentary in your calypsos, listening to the story of what you studied in school, and then the fact that the changing of subjects from info, you know, at such a late stage made you basically set up a foundation in your head to studying law. Because if you didn't have to do that big transition, it made your mind and your mindset robust to deal with being in England to study and to become who you are today. So I mean, I was going to ask you what set the foundation for who you are today, but I think by the stories that you're telling, it is telling me the foundation um,
yes.
of what you said. So you were in Wales, right?
Yeah, I was in England first, so I did
Right.
my undergraduate in England, and so while doing my undergraduate, I worked after VU. I did a weekend. I was a weekender, as they call it, at the London Eye. A lot of persons may not. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the London Eye, which is the observation wheel. It's a big tourist attraction in England. Um, that was one of the greatest. I mean, past view. That was one of the greatest experiences because I worked on a Saturday and Sunday, so just 2 days a week. Actually, it was one of the sought after tourist attraction work. So not everybody could get into that job, just like that. It may sound as though yes, it's a tourist attraction, but you have to be really good to get into that job, basically. So I worked in ticketing. So I worked just on the weekend because I had to go to university. And working just the weekend, 2 days a week, 8 days a month, I was taking home like £500 a month, you know.
Wow.
And because it was a highly paid tourist attraction, and plus, with overtime, and then you were able to get into, I mean, because one of the perks is that you're able to get into Madame Tussauds, all the
Okay.
amusement
Okay.
parks, all the partner parks, and also in the in Europe and United States, etc., etc. They were in charge of also the river cruise and all these different things. So all my friends, family who came to London during that time, I got them in free.
Listen,
I
I
remember.
should have been traveling. We came to
Yes,
Wales at the wrong time. We were
yes,
there at the wrong time.
I remember we doing a champagne tour, and those different things. So it was lovely, and of course, you made a lot of friends because, of course, England is the hub for all sort of nationalities.
Yeah.
So I've made friends from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Europe, Poland, from all over the world. And after I graduated, I went to Wales, where I did my bar vocational course. That is
Okay.
the transition course to become a barrister. So
Okay.
it's a year program. It was very rigorous. That is basically where you're training to become an advocate. So you have done the theory
Right.
in the undergraduate, and then the practical. Obviously now it's almost as though every day we have to go to school in suits. We
Wow.
have to dress as though we are barristers. We have to dress as though so one of the prerequisites, we cannot go to any of our classes in casual wear. So we had to dress in full suits, especially when we were doing our mooting meaning that we would have had to do um, our recorded training in terms of different topics, and we'll have to role play and how we would have dealt with certain areas of law, or how we would have dealt with certain areas as defense counsel versus prosecution in criminal matters or civil proceedings. So that in itself, I attended Cardiff Law School, University Law School in the center of Cardiff, and of course, again, that was a culture shock as well because
Let me tell you, it's a now picture. You
culture
went.
shock.
You what year were you there?
I was there in Cardiff in 2009 to 10.
And how old were you?
I was 20. I graduated from undergrad at 21, so I was about 22.
So picture this. You know, it's funny how
I was
your
about
lives
20.
cross. It's funny how your lives cross because we were living in Cardiff, in Penarth, when I was 16. So imagine you at 22 feeling the change. You can
Yes,
imagine what it was like,
yes.
me being 16. That was a whole different kettle of fish. So I can
It,
identify to some degree.
yeah, it's a culture shock, but it was worth it. I enjoyed one because it was cheaper than London. I think
Yes.
living in London. But when I thought British people, meaning English people, because English people could drink and party,
Oh God, Welsh. The
and
Welsh. The
Welsh, they
Welsh.
on a different level. Until on a weekend when we going out to line, or as they say, social,
Yeah.
they there used to be an ambulance on Queen Street. So you know Queen Street,
What?
right? There used to be an ambulance station outside the clubs, right?
Wow.
For persons who are wasted. So literally, people used to go into the clubs, and literally at the end of the night, ambulance taking them, or paramedics treating them. That it was a whole different kettle of fish.
I was too
I've never
young
seen
when I was
it.
there. Yeah, I didn't experience that because I was too young at that point. The drinking part wasn't that.
Yeah,
Mind you, I probably shouldn't say certain things because I will out myself and I'll out my friends. Because I remember having pen pals from Canada and we would go hanging out and stuff. Let's just say what happens in Cardiff stays in Cardiff.
amazing Cardiff, precisely. and,
So
and,
now
and
you
then and then
go
I
ahead.
met like my class. It is so funny because Cardiff University had a lot of Malaysians,
Hmm.
and I think 50% of my year were Malaysians.
Wow.
Malaysians, and I was amazed, in terms of the cultural difference, and
Hmm.
and Malaysian people are very, very brilliant in terms of they are determined. I mean,
Hmm.
every nationality has their own, but when I look at Malaysian, how they work hard, particularly they came here
A
to study,
purpose.
and
Yes.
they were so focused, and I learned a lot from them until I didn't even realize that who was the prime minister child, and a lot of those in those countries. Even one of my best friend Ash, he was Pakistani, Ash and Amit. So both of them were Pakistanis, and are Pakistanis actually, and we used to do everything together. So it was four of us. It was the two Pakistani, one Welsh girl, and myself. And it's only after I realized that one of their fathers were the general in the army, and the other one father was a politician. And and
Wow.
they were so normal. I mean, they were living in the center of Queen Street in a tower. So they were. I mean, in order to afford that, you had to have some sort of
Some dollars.
dollars.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I
Some
will go
dollars.
over there study nights, and we will end up cooking, and having a few, and just enjoying, and then we realize, wait, no, next day we have exam. We passed, you know and I mean, they've always invited me. They say, Rondell, 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 why are you not coming to Pakistan? All you have to do, is get on a flight, and we will host you. We will bring you. We will carry you to the presidential suite, and we will shuffle you, and we will have a red carpet and all kind of foolishness they always see. Because actually, both of them now are well established. Two of them has their law firm. I think one actually is a politician over there as well. So So they've all evolved. You know, all my classmates, I still communicate with them through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That, I mean, a lot of them are doing extremely well, who are partners in law firm, who are doing all sorts of different things. You
Well,
know,
listen,
so
show you who your friends are, and you show who you are, and
yeah,
it really speaks to the foundation that being in a foreign country, studying, and having to keep it together, considering some of the lifestyle that was happening around you, the
yes,
influencers, they were really strong influences around you. So now
agreed.
that you're here and you're back in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yes.
you have your own law practice. What is your
Yes.
specialty that you're
I, I,
specializing in?
I specialize in civil litigation. So that's civil, which includes land, which includes breach of contract, media and entertainment. That's my specialty in terms of what I do. A lot of media and entertainment law. I also do family law practice. I have a lot of matters in family law. I do probate, conveyancing. I do work for companies. It's quite a wide practice area. My partner does criminal practice, so it's quite a large area of law. I mean, I will give you the backstory as to how I got into private practice, by the way, but I can do it now. Yeah.
What, go for the goal. Go for the goal, man. Go for the goal.
Right. So when I got called to the bar, I was employed, and I remembered uh, being asked to get involved in local government
Right.
election. And but I also remember in the back of my head that my senior always says, "Law is a jealous mistress," right?
Mm,
So law is a jealous mistress, meaning that you can't want to be in law and be in politics at the same time. I mean, people do it, but in terms of you can't want to be in politics and be employed.
right.
So I had some decisions to make, and eventually, after I think it was about 2 years working, I decided to leave the job and enter local government, and that was in 2013.
Following in
So
the footsteps of your family. Go ahead.
yes, so I had no choice but to go into private practice. I was grateful enough that I had mentors. Actually, one particular colleague, Jason Jackson, he's a criminal attorney. Uh, he actually welcomed me into his practice to assist, and get advocacy experience in criminal law,
Hmm.
which I was grateful for, because actually, I got a lot of hands-on experience in magistrates courts, etc.
Right.
And then after I transitioned, I got opportunity to rent an office at a chamber setting, and from since then, I continued up to this day, being in private practice. This year will make it my 8th year in private practice. Also, I will be in my 10th year of call this year. Nine into 10 a year of call to the bar of Trinidad and Tobago, and yeah, I've had the opportunity to serve as a corp sec in one of the state organizations during a short stint while I was in private practice. Um, and I gained the experience, the knowledge, continuously learning, etc. So yeah, so that I mean, it has been it has had its up and downs, of course. I mean, I know in my early stages of practice, I sometimes I wonder, oh gosh, how am I going to pay my rent this
Right.
month?
Right.
Or at that time I had secretary, how I'm going to pay my secretary. And then
Right.
it always happened that in the 99th minute, like say for instance, month end is the 30th, by 28th, some matter came up, and I was able to cover my expenses.
What gives you this faith? Like, what gives you the faith that you could actually conquer it? Because I'm thinking back to you went and you borrow your mother credit card. She listening there, by the way. You borrow the credit card. You want to go into to law, and you went out there. You changed different things, and as I look at your life, you've always been taking risk. What allows you to take these risks?
I think what allows me to take this risk, a very interesting question. I think because of how we grew up, um, I was fortunate enough, as much as, yes, Andrea and I grew up with mommy, I was always connected to people, always have mentors, always seeing certain vision for myself, because at the end of the day, growing up very humble, and you don't want to now become somebody who is dependent. And I think too, because of my extended family, I am super grateful as well to my late aunt, Auntie Ursula.
Yes.
um because I think she really did a she was an unsung hero for me. Apart from my mom, she was an unsung hero for me, because she was probably the closest in terms of, we had a farm in Trinidad, but she was probably the closest to us, right? I remember when mom would have had to do one or two surgeries,
Hmm.
Andrea and I will go Gulview by her, and she was very strict. you know
Yes. You better
she
eat
was
everything on your plate. You better eat
Bending
everything.
everything on the plate, no elbows on the dining table.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you have to eat with knife and fork. Just the look and the buff. I think when Uncle Mervyn was alive, that was our next serious buff. you know. But
Was it
she
you? Wait,
actually,
wait, wait. Hold on a second. Was it you who had to sit down and eat callaloo at the table because you didn't like the callaloo? I
I
feel it was you, you know.
I'm not sure if it was me or Andrew, but I remember being forced to eat callaloo at one point.
And you couldn't leave the table.
At that time, she used to put callaloo in a bowl, separate.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you do not leave the table until
You finish your meal.
your meal. And in her latter life, we got really close. And in England, she would always call. She and Auntie Bernadette. For
That would
those
be
who don't
my
know,
mom.
Bernadette, your mom,
Just for
yeah.
folks who don't know, that would be my mom. Okay, go ahead.
At that time, Auntie Bernadette wasn't savvy in text, but
Yes.
I don't think
No,
she
she
is still.
wasn't.
But Auntie Elsie, she will always send words of inspiration, call. She was very versed. I think she was probably one of the few siblings who was so versed, apart from Auntie
Yes.
Angie, so versed on the computer. I think Auntie Angie is probably the most versed um,
Yes.
out of all our generation siblings. And then I also remember that when mommy used to have to communicate with me, his companion card, she would call from, certain things like that. And she was forced to learn to text, because at that time texting was cheaper.
Yes.
So she was forced to learn to text, I think, when I was in England, and yeah, so again, back, I know I veered off, but back to the question of taking risk. I don't know. I just think, I see life is to take calculated risk,
Right.
right? Calculated risk, because I believe if you don't take risks, how will you
Hmm.
know what you are good at? How will you know how well you can motivate others or achieve certain
Right.
things? I have lost. I have lost in the past. I've taken risk as an adult, which ended
Yep.
up
Yep.
in serious issues, particularly when it came to money. Um, you know, but when I set myself to doing things, I set out to do it. And if it wasn't for the values that inculcated from young, and just the ability to know what you have a vision, that I don't want to
Right.
be where I am growing up. I want to expand. You know, I want to expand. I want to be something for us. I want to be able to not have to have my mother worrying at my old age, studying, certain things. I want to be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
Certain things
Yeah.
that I'd be able to take, take them on trips, stuff like that. Where, so funny enough, I was still grateful that I had the opportunity to travel when I was younger, because of my involvement in culture. So, so I did a lot of cultural exchanges. I remember in Junior Calypso Monarch, they used to call me the second place winner. So I used to always come second in the National Junior Calypso Monarch. And the first place winner used to go to England to
Right.
perform, and the second place win because Crop Over and Notting Hill was around the same time.
Right.
The winner of the Junior Calypso Monarch couldn't be two places at the same time. So I was afforded the opportunity to travel to Barbados as a youth to perform. As a youth at that time, we performed in St. Thomas, a lot of different islands. Costa Rica, I remember doing an exchange
Right.
in Costa Rica. So a lot of different places that we performed in as a young person. I know, and then when you expose to different people, different cultures, you get a different type of motivation to be better, or to focus in parallel that this is where you want to be and this is where you want to achieve and go.
One of the things you just said that struck me was when you were singing, they call you, you're coming second, right? But you didn't let that stop you. What,
Mm.
you know, what is your, and this is a question I normally ask coming down to the end of the show, but I'm going to ask you this. What is your definition of victory? What does victory really look like for you?
As I said, victory. I the song is in my head. Victory belongs to Jesus.
Yeah,
Victory
yeah,
belongs to Him. Um, my my concept of victory is knowing that, seeing where my struggles were and how
hmm,
far that I have gotten to. You know, I mean, that in itself is victory for me. Because I can tell you this, at the age of, when was it? I think I was in standard three. My room caught a fire, right in New Bush Street. My room caught a fire. I was sleeping, and I woke up and my entire room was blazed. And I lost all my books
right.
in standard three, all my books. And through the good graces of, I think at that time was friends, TUCO, I was able to get back those books, etc. Um, when I was in university, I remembered I was in Cardiff having to do an exam the next day, and I got an email from someone stating that our home in San Fernando had
That's-
caught a
Yep,
fire,
yep.
right? And that was, I think that was probably the most traumatic experience. Not because of the fact that I wasn't there. Things could have been worse. I
Yeah.
was in England. I had an exam the next day. And what I noticed that my mother never really wanted us to worry all the time. She never wanted us to worry. So she would do certain things. So as I get older, I realize how much sacrifice
You
that she
recovered.
has done
Yes. Yeah.
in order for us to be at a place of comfort. But yeah, victory belongs to God, one, right? But victory also is about knowing that life can pass you by in an instant, right? And you have
Yeah.
not achieved most of what you set out to. And once I'm able to achieve and inspire, I think in myself I am victorious.
Yes, I like that answer. I like that answer. So
Mm.
I'm going to see now. I had some things set up, people, and I'll be honest with my folks here live and on the replay. We had some technical challenges in the beginning because, this is what happens in the internet world. And I want to share this with people before we get into this next piece of who you are. And I want to show them this, Mr. Rondell.
I am Rondell Donawa, attorney at law and host of Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Strictly Legal is a legal program geared towards informing you, the public, of your legal rights, responsibilities, and remedies. So be viewing Thursdays 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Strictly legal. Now you're not you're singing calypso, you're going to law, you do everything in between, and now we have strictly legal. You start now, you enter in the hemisphere of becoming a media personality in a different level. tell us about the show and why you started the show.
This is an
And watch
amazing
Hyacinth.
story.
Hyacinth is, you have a big fan right here. Hyacinth.
Yes, excellent.
No, at
Yeah,
Hyacinth
of
right
course.
now.
He is-
Okay. All right.
Strictly legal. Wow. I think that is the epitome of faith and works. Reason why I said that is because in December I was I was in Port of Spain doing something, and one of my very good friends, Darren Leasing, um, I he called me across, so I came to him, and we was just chatting about his new venture, his new station, etc. And in conversation, while we were talking about things that are happening with the station, things in the country, and I was like, but Darren, why don't you do a legal program? He say, okay, explain more. I said, well, I mean, I don't think there are any program right now in our country. I mean, there were previous programs that deals with simplifying the law in television format. And I pitched something to him, and I'm like, we could do that. And then he's like, well, here you are. Why don't you do it? So I was like, well, Darren, I am not involved in media. I'm not a journalist. He said, but Rondell, you are involved in media. You have been performing your entire life. You have been involved in a lot of different things in the performing arts, drama, all these different things. And he was like, write a script, tell me more, send us something. So I said, okay, I will think about it. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to send him a proposal. I did that the same week, actually. And a few days later, they called me into the studio and told me, let's just run a program. Let's just do a snippet of what you envision. So I spoke to my colleague, as I always call her my psychic, Chantal. I spoke to her and I was like, girl, again, opportunity to do a legal program. And I think that will go well, in terms of one, simplifying the law, getting myself out there. As attorneys,
Right.
we are not allowed to advertise pursuant to the Legal Professional Act. So you have to be careful in terms of
Right.
how you do things as attorneys. So of course, this is why one of the reasons, as you would see out, you don't see my information in terms of my contact information, like phone number or my chamber information,
Right.
or when I'm
Right.
doing guests. So in any event, so I went to the program. Now I prepared like questions, answers. I told Chantal, come along with me. So we came to
Right.
the studio. Now, first time I'm sitting down in a production studio like that, where they do news and where they do programs in a TV station. So I'm sat
Right.
there, green screen. The producer just said, start. And then I was like, well, welcome to the Law Matters, and so. And I go around, here's my guest, Chantal Paul, attorney at law, and we're going to talk about bail today. And we just started to have the conversation, and I think within minutes, they were just like, okay, we good there.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
the owner, the CEO came out, he asked, what's your thing? We good to go. We will contact you. And I think that said day or that said evening, I got a presenter's email guideline in terms of building on the concept, and then we started to build on names. So I sent in about 10 different names in what the program could be called, and then we decided on Strictly Legal, and then the concept was built by the editing team of the station. That entire background, everything, as you know, green screen. You sit in front of the green screen, and that whole background is what was produced by the station. That
Right.
whole setting, as though you were in an office kind of setting. And the first episode aired on January 22nd, 2020, and we are now 6 months in, and I am on my 21st. I have had 21 episodes thus far. I have also done a 4-part docu-series on crime and punishment in Trinidad and Tobago as well.
That was
I
a
have had,
series. Now, if you have not watched the series, people, go and watch Crime and Punishment. Let me put it in the comments. Go ahead.
yes, Crime and Punishment in Trinidad and Tobago. It's on my YouTube channel. I had the distinct opportunity to see what a production looks like in terms of from start to finish, meaning, in terms of a camera crew,
Right.
you have a makeup artist, you have the producer who's the Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith. I had the opportunity to first time the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago allowed an interview of a judicial officer, a judge, a master at the Hall of Justice chamber. So I was allowed to interview her as well, Master Murray Bailey. And I also interviewed an
Right.
ex-convict, a reformed ex-convict, in terms of his experience of the criminal justice system and how can it be improved, etc. So that was just going from scene to scene, and actually we filmed that entire production in a week, right?
Wow.
So
Powerful.
actually we filmed it in 4 days. 4 days. That production started in May. We completed at the end of the week. Production had about 2 or 3 weeks to complete the entire editing, and normally production of that nature will take months.
Right.
And they were able to put together everything within a couple of weeks and air it last month. Actually, maybe in June, well,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
end of last month,
Yeah.
end of May, June. And to me, that was such a brilliant experience. And I must thank WESN Content Capital for allowing me the space to grow and to tap into to an area of me that I never knew existed. I knew existed because in my mind, I always say my second life, I want to be in Hollywood. As I always said, I want to be in Hollywood. I feel
Well,
like
this
born for,
well, the second
for
part of your life could just be the second stage of your life because this
yeah,
is just one phase of your life. And many people like to say, you just have one purpose, and I don't believe. I believe that purpose is what you do on your way to destiny, and there's several things you do along the way. So you're fulfilling destiny. You're doing one thing after the next, and look, now you're getting to the media. So and when I think about it, it's you set it up when you were in England. You were
yeah,
already meeting the stars. So
yes,
I am just saying, watch out, world. Here
yes,
he comes. So as
yes.
we begin to wind down, and I'm just so grateful for you being here tonight. What is a message that you would want to get to your fellow Trinbagonians tonight, whether they're at home or whether they're abroad?
My message is just to live your dream. I mean, sometimes it sounds superficial, but it can happen. I think I am a testament of what you call living your dream, taking risks, and just being you. Sometimes we get so caught up in what we think we should be or what we think others should perceive us as, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and not tap into our true self and really tap into our treasures that is yet to be explored. And I think, I think the world is not finished with me yet. You know, I, I
Far from
am
it.
I
Yes.
am grateful to be alive every day because every day you're seeing somebody dying, especially during this pandemic. It's
Yes.
it's it has shown you a different part of your life
Yeah.
that you have to be grateful for. So never give up. Never give up. Take the risk where it could be. Take advice. Sometimes we think we know everything and we don't like to take advice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but just be you. Just be you. This period will pass. We all have our internal demons that we deal with. We all have our struggles, but this period will pass, and you just tap into your untapped treasure.
Yeah. I love tap into your untapped treasure. I like that. I tell you the
Yes,
wisdom nuggets drop,
tap
the
into your
wisdom.
untapped treasure.
I
Yes.
love that. And I was going to ask if it was a favorite motto or quote, but I think you just gave us one. You just
And
put
I
one
just
out
came up
there.
there. tap into your, yeah, that just came into my mind.
Yeah.
Tap into your untapped treasure, and
Somebody,
that is the opportunity.
somebody listening on the live, type that out for me. Tap into your untapped treasure. That is
Treasure.
a wisdom
Yeah,
nugget tonight, a true
you're
wisdom
right
nugget
enough.
tonight. So 20 years from now, if you were to look back, right? And not look back and see my point, my orchid, but if you were to look back, what do you think will matter to you the most?
What will matter to me the most is that I have made an impact to somebody or some people or some generation of persons that that I have 20 years from now. I'll still be what? 20 years from now, I'll be in my 50s, fortunately.
You finally
Uh,
reach me. You finally reach me. Right.
I'm 34. But I want to look back and say, at 54, I could just retire.
I love that.
I just live like Richard Branson on an island somewhere, being a philanthropist, and just hone the skill set, transfer my skill sets onto others.
I thank everybody. Thank you for that, Rondell. I thank everybody who wrote it up for me. Tap into your untapped treasures, and Hyacinth put up here as well. Nia is purpose in Swahili. Yes, it is. It is what God has given to me, an excerpt from one of my works. Love it, love it, love it. And so you've met a lot of people along the way, and so forth and so forth. Is there if you could go to dinner with one person, who would that be and why?
Barack Obama.
Why?
Now, I was this close to meeting Barack when I was in the United States. Actually, I was an ambassador in terms of a youth ambassador for the Global Young Leaders Conference. I'm sure you would have heard about that, where youth leaders would go to the United States and really learn diplomacy skills and certain things like
Right.
that. And I remember we were going to the White House, and at that time Obama was just president, and we were actually going to a dinner, and it so happened that he had to leave, or something happened and we weren't able to meet him, right? And we actually met the vice president, who is the president today, Biden. However, why I want to meet Obama, because he is the definition of somebody who has come from nothing to something, right? And he inspires me because, one, he understands what is hard work. He understands what it is to live your dream. And you see, Yes We Can, you see that? And I actually sang a song about that. Yes We Can. That was the name of the Calypso. That was inspired by his his motto at the time. Yes We Can. That nothing or nobody can stop you from achieving your goals if you want to achieve it. Particularly as persons of, or as black, let me deal with black people. Sometimes we think that because of our generational curses, or because of our ancestral curses, or whatever the case is, that we cannot be the Bill Gates, that we cannot be, whomever, and inspire. And Barack Obama, I would just want to meet him for like 5 minutes and just ask him. I said, "How did you do it?" you know,
I
and
like that. How do you do it? And
yeah,
it's a really good question because no matter what, one of the things I admire about him, whether you believe in his politics or not, no matter what came at him, he stayed the course. He
yeah,
stayed focused, and he didn't lose sight of what
yeah,
the vision was. We didn't know what his vision, but he had a vision, something that kept him going. And I mean,
mm,
yes, he used the motto, yes, we can. And I think, as we grow together, we all need that motto that can say, yes, we can, when you're
yeah.
feeling that little piece of it. And so, Rondell, as I wind down, is there any other thing that you would like to share with those live and on the replay? And I thank everybody who is tuned in tonight for staying, you're with us and being engaged and being part of the conversation. To tell us, is there anything else you would like to share with those listening
Um,
live and
I,
on replay?
I would just want to say, Nicole, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. to speak freely and to, because it's been a while I haven't done an interview like this. Because in your professional career, most things you do is on law or calypso, stuff like that. But just sit down and be you, and just speak your mind and give some inspiration to others. I just want to thank you. I am grateful to everyone in my life who has played a significant role in my life to date, those present and past. My mom particularly, she is a warrior boy. Sometimes people ask how you do that. You wake up. I remember she waking up early in the morning, attending to plans, making sure we get breakfast. She would cook at 5 a.m. in the morning, finish by 6, make sure we get ready for school,
Yeah.
go and work, do certain things to ensure that we are not we are not hungry. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Encourage us. Not because you grew up in a certain lifestyle means that you can't be the same as somebody else of a middle class nature. So we're given the opportunities. But of course, at the end of the day, is what is in your mind,
Yeah.
and your mindset. Your attitude determines your aptitude. You know.
He dropping it, people. He coming down to the end of the thing now. He dropping it like it hot now. Dropping it like it hot.
And at the end of the day, I always say I can't afford to. I mean, I can't falter, but I have to pick myself up because, I am the creator of my destiny.
Mm,
I was given the foundation. Now I have to create my destiny. And I can't give up, because if I give up, I will be left with nothing. Because I knew what it is to struggle.
I love that. And Rondell, I am honored to have you on here. And for those of you who are now joining us, you got to check out the top of the show. As you may not see, but we carry the same part of the same last name. We come from the Donawa family, and it is a huge family from Trinidad and Tobago. And Rondell and I share the same birth date,
Say yes.
a few
I'm
years apart.
African.
A few years apart. Actually, it's Rondell, my son, and I share the same birthday. I think somebody else has joined in the plethora of our birthdays. I don't know who it
Yeah,
is,
see,
but
one of my nephews is, oh, actually, yeah, one of my nephew as well, my eldest brother, son, he's actually the seventh as well, Karen.
oh, I didn't even know that. You see,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
learned a
he's
thing
seventh,
today.
yeah.
Lisa says, I need to use that in my class, Rondell. Tap into your untapped treasure. I love it.
Yes.
And
Hey,
Wendy is
Lisa.
Wendy,
Lisa.
aka Edwin John, who is our premier panelist here, and one of our premier panelists here in Toronto. You did an excellent
Oh,
job and
nice.
very informative. You got the skills. You got the skills. You know. So and Hyacinth, everything that you need to succeed was built into you in the beginning. Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, Rondell, it has been such a pleasure
Receive.
speaking with you tonight. And, as we get ready to go, I hope people, live and on the replay, you will share this interview with others. You will know that, we want to share the culture. Rondell has shared who he is, what he did, being a Calypsonian in the background. You're hearing one of his songs, his 2020 Calypso, We So Cold. Be sure to check it out and check out all his Calypsos that he's been performing since he's the age of 4. And, traveling around the world, singing, being an ambassador for our country, Trinidad and Tobago, becoming a lawyer. Now, he was a counselor, and, he is now a media personality. So all of that and what he took to get there. And Rondell, I thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And for those of you live and on the replay, remember to have a conversation. Conversations are so important. We learn a lot, and I learned a lot, even things I didn't know about him tonight. Tomorrow night, you can check me on Clubhouse at 7 p.m. with Coach Danny Stone and Love More and Dr. Vibe. And, we always have some great empowering conversations in the Champion You room. And on Wednesday, I have a special show lined up for you coming up at 8 p.m. And on Friday, we got the Speak Up and Empower platform with Love More. And we're going to have some great conversation there as well at 7 p.m. And you can follow me on YouTube at Victory Speak 7. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check it out. And follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter, Victory Speaks 7. And the Victory Speaks audio podcast is on Spotify and on Apple, where we learn to live a life of victory and we share some Victory Speaks secrets. And I leave you with one of my favorite quotes. I've been sharing this quote 2 times now. What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others lives on forever. And remember, love is in the details. Every day, seek to have an inspired conversation with someone you love, with someone you meet today, or someone you've met along the way. Your conversations will be inspired by your truth, your love, your story, and make sure they are meaningful. It can even just start with a smile. I thank you for tuning in tonight. I thank my guests, you know, Rondell for joining me, and for everyone who tuned in live and on the replay.
Auntie,
Uh,
don't forget on TV.
and and who? Oh, I see. Oh, Auntie Norma says hi. So hi, Auntie Norma. So
Mm.
everybody, thank you. And for those of you who don't know our history, go check out the Donawa family and our aunt Muriel Donawa Magnificent. We probably have to do a special on her one day, Rondell, and talk
Yes,
about her
definitely.
legacy and her life. And we
Mm.
bring on some more of the other family members because she has taught us a lot. And destiny, yes, I love that destiny. So we're walking in destiny, and we thank you for tuning in tonight. Um, be sure to check out the replay if you missed any of the show tonight. And I'm just saying a beautiful good night from all of us here in Toronto and in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, you know what I did in the interview?